So, you want to know how to feel happier? Start with this. Stop trying to be happy. Wait, what? Most happiness tips are pretty rubbish. So today I'm sharing 8 simple and effective ways to be happier that actually work. So let's talk about happiness. Hi, I'm Jeremy Godwin and I talk about looking after your mental health with simple advice based on quality research and personal experience from someone who actually understands what it's like to go through mental health challenges. So there's lots of advice out there about how to feel happier, but improving your well-being isn't about magically feeling happy all the time. Instead, it's about finding greater satisfaction in your life. Why do I say that? Because it's important to state up front that happiness is not a goal that we can chase. Happiness is an outcome. And it's an outcome of making healthy choices for your mind, body, and spirit every day. And it's made up of a whole bunch of stuff that I've covered in previous episodes. Self-care, self-awareness, letting go, healthy relationships, self-worth, self-esteem, and many, many more. Genuine happiness is less about being happy than it is about being satisfied with your life. And satisfaction is about cultivating a sense of calm and peace of mind with all aspects of your life. Why? Because that way you're prepared to deal with the inevitable ups and downs that will come your way, since they really are inevitable in life. The fact is that we lose loved ones and pets, global pandemics occur, good television shows go downhill. Given a choice between a baseline of frustration and dissatisfaction versus a baseline of calm and satisfaction, it's hopefully fairly obvious which one is going to have the more positive effect on your mental health and your overall well-being. So let's also be clear that aside from not being a goal to be achieved, happiness is not a magic cure for all of your troubles. Why? Because it's not a permanent state. Have you ever purchased something to cheer yourself up? How long did that last? Because long-lasting happiness doesn't come from money, a new car, the latest phone. Research indicates a fleeting amount of happiness can come from those things, but then we generally return to our old baseline level of happiness, which is why we then start craving the next thing that we think will make us happy. So let's jump into the tips for creating greater genuine happiness in your life, starting with consciously focus on creating peace of mind and a sense of calm in all areas of your life. Happiness is very much an outcome of calm and peace of mind. And so by focusing on what you need to do to create calm and peace of mind, and then treating that as a priority every single day, you'll find that over time, it becomes easier to generate more feelings of satisfaction and find more moments of true happiness. One way to do that is with my next tip. Consider what is working in your life versus what is not. So this is pretty straightforward. For the stuff that is working, how can you do more of that? For the stuff that isn't working, how can you do less of that? Or how can you change the nature of it? Look, nobody said this would be easy. I talk about simple ideas for better mental health, not easy ideas. But by doing this, you can make a list and start to see where you need to do some work. And at least if you have an idea of where you are today, then you can begin to create a sense of what needs to change in different areas of your life, like work, family, well-being, etc. Next, embrace simplicity. Another thing I'm a big fan of is finding simplicity in all things, because life is already complicated enough. Now, what that looks and feels like is going to be different for each of us, because we all have our own unique needs, wants, and preferences. But the message here is that when given a choice between a complicated decision or action versus a simple one, 9 times out of 10, the simple choice is going to be much easier to deal with and more likely to lead you to longer-term happiness and satisfaction. Okay, next, choose who has access to you. Because negative people tend to come with a whole bunch of negativity, and who you allow into your life has a direct influence on you. If you spend a lot of time with miserable people or nasty people, it's going to be pretty hard not to be dragged down into that. So instead, choose to surround yourself with positive people who lift you up. Alright, next, look after yourself proactively. And this should come as no surprise because you don't need to win the lottery to be happy or have a high-paying job or be rich and famous, because what creates satisfaction and genuine happiness is doing many different things every day to create a fulfilling life for yourself, because the more you do, the more improvement you see. It doesn't have to be massive. Next, find out what you're good at and what you enjoy and do more of that. Look, nobody is good at everything. Nobody. I wish I could draw. can barely draw a stick figure. I wish I can sing. You don't want to hear. It's pretty bad. So the thing is that if you only focus on what you're not good at though, eventually your self-esteem is going to plummet and it's not exactly going to be helpful. So instead, focus more on what you are good at and let go of the other stuff. In the words of the English writer Bertrand Russell, anything you're good at contributes to happiness. Okay, next, choose to focus on purpose and meaning rather than money and stuff. Because when we chase after money above all things, then we're actually setting ourselves up for unhappiness. Look, a certain amount of money is absolutely necessary for paying our bills and keeping a roof over our head. But beyond that, it just becomes something that we have to work harder and harder for so that we can then buy more stuff to try to make us happy, even though we don't really need it. And all of that keeps us in a cycle of working harder to pay for things and more things. So find out what matters most to you and turn your attention to that instead of feeling like you have to keep up with everyone and spend $2,000 on ugly sneakers. All right, next, celebrate the little things, because it's actually the little things in life that can have the most impact, like the interactions that you have every day with the people that you care about and your pets if you have them, or the way that we find fulfillment in doing something that we love. Rather than the big things that only sort of happen every now and then and come and go, it's the tiny little things that we do each day and the small decisions that we make that have a huge flow-on effect. So think about what small changes for the better you can make in your life on a daily basis. Whatever you choose to do, keep it simple and do it regularly. The choice is yours, as it is with all things related to your well-being. So what choice will you make today? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're looking for ways to embrace simplicity, then watch this video next, where I share simple advice on how to completely change your life. Click the link to watch it now. And find even more advice on looking after your well-being in my weekly podcast, Let's Talk About Mental Health. It's linked in the description below. Thanks so much for joining me today. Take care and talk to you next time.